Hello everyone, can you solve today's puzzle? It is white to play and win, and it might seem like white is easily winning this because we have an extra bishop to play with, but make no mistake, only one variation here wins for white. And just to clarify, both sides have a pawn each, and our pawn goes this direction, and black's pawn goes the other direction. And I want you to see how white can win this. As I mentioned, only one variation wins here. You can pause the video and have a think, and then come back and I'll show you the solution. Best of luck. Okay, so what happens if we play g7? We allow black to capture a rook, but that means we will capture black's rook and promote their queen, so this will be a win for white. So that is why black will not capture a rook, but instead play rook to a8, and the idea is to deliver endless checks on our king. And it doesn't matter what we do here, so first of all, our rook is under threat, so we have to move it, but it doesn't matter where we move it. Black will just deliver endless checks, and our king just cannot hide anywhere. And yeah, this is going to be a draw. So we have to do something better than that. G7 doesn't work, and of course taking on F7 will not work either because that just loses our rook. So how about moving the bishop away, let's say to F6. Here black will capture on G6. And now our rook is under threat and our bishop is under threat. We can play rook to G7, check, king to H8, and we can play rook to F7, but the king will just go back to G8. And yeah, we cannot win this with white. Of course, if you capture here, we're not going to win with just a bishop. So yeah, this is a draw. So bishop to F6 doesn't work. And also, if we try with bishop to G7, here black will just take on G6, and this removes the defender of our rook. So if we move the rook away, then we will lose our bishop. If we take the rook, black will just take our rook, and again, that's a draw. So moving the bishop to G7 doesn't work either. Moving the bishop to anywhere will not work. Black will always take on G6. And yeah, this doesn't do anything. So we don't move the pawn, we don't move the bishop. So the solution has to be either moving the rook or moving the king. And moving the king isn't going to do anything. The king is just too far away. Black will always take on G6. And our rook is under threat here. And yeah, we're not going to win this. When the black rook comes out, that's going to be a draw. So we have to move the rook. But where? If we take on F7, then the black rook will just recapture, and yeah, this is a draw. Not enough material to win with. If we move the rook along the H file, doesn't matter where, to H3 maybe, black will again just take on G6, and yeah, the black rook comes out, and we just will not win this. Even though we have an extra bishop, bishop and rook versus rook is a draw, so it's not going to be a win here. That means the winning move has to be rook to G7 check, and this is indeed the correct move. So black will take the bishop, and here what do? We've just lost our bishop. What do we do now? Do we take on F7? No, because here black will just save the day. How about playing rook to H7? Here black goes back to G8, and what have we achieved here? We have the same position as before, but without a bishop. So how can white still win this? Here the winning move is to play G7, and this time black has to either take the rook and we promote to a queen, or if this time if black goes to a8 like in the previous variation where we had the bishop. Here our bishop is no longer on h8. That means if black plays rook to a8 or rook to e8, doesn't matter, we will have rook to h8 check. And black's only move is to capture in g7, and that allows us to pick up the rook and we will win the game. So it's an incredible idea where our bishop was in the way. So the idea was to play g7, but here black had rook to a8 and endless checks. We don't have rook to h8. But by playing rook to g7, we're forcing black to take our bishop, and then we play rook to h7, forcing the black king back, and we have the original position, but without the bishop, and we play g7, and this time the rook cannot hide. It doesn't matter where black puts the rook, we will have rook to h8 check, and we will pick up that rook. If you found this idea, or if you only found g7 at the end, let me know in the comments. But please try to hide the spoilers in the comments, because in some platforms people can see the comments before the video, and that ruins it for them. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this puzzle, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.